How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Awesome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Very good. Did you have a good Labor Day weekend?
Yes.
Perfect. Did you do anything fun?
No.
Neither
Just
did we.
I'm always working on my website or something like that, Just
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
saw it. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I've been going through your lessons and there's a lot. I like got into that pricing and I don't understand how you can list. I know you have to list products on your
Hmm.
website and you know tell people what you do and but it's so much. I said, how do you put all that without having too many pages and
Yes,
you
I
know,
saw. Yeah,
so
I saw both your questions. And actually, honestly, Roger, we can go ahead and answer yours first. We have another question from Alan, but I know he's working during the day. He has another job to get to. And Aaron, welcome. So, do you have any questions today, Aaron, so I can just plan out time appropriately? Or are you good?
Yeah, I have a question or two.
Okay, cool. So let's start with Roger, then we'll bump over to you, Aaron, and then welcome, Ronald. It's so good to see you. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you here. So
I know.
let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll start with Roger first. So as he was sharing, as you guys were hopping on, he's working through the website stuff, which is a lot of information. I've gone through so many iterations of my website. So basically, Roger, this first part of this question, I know there was another one, is how do you put what's the best way to put the pricing information on your website? Is that a good summary of that question?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So and are you talking about like for all the things that you photograph or um like
Well, I did when I was listening to your lesson, you were talking about listing products. You said
mhm,
try to list at least five of your most uh your most products that you want to sell and then let uh people know what type of what avenue of photography you do. Like I can do other things other than family. I focus on family photography, but I
right.
can do other things like teenagers, high school seniors, babies.
Right.
I don't want to jam them all together like you were saying on your lessons. I don't
Yes.
want to. You want to separate all that,
Yes.
and that's why. Do you pull all that on one page, or you just divide it up in? How do
Such
you?
a Yeah, such a great question. I actually love it when this question is asked because I am one of those people that I will at least every other year, it's honestly more often like every single year, I will literally hire another photographer in my area for professional photos, whether it's headshots for me or whether it's family photography. So what I share here is like me from the perspective of a paying client and somebody who um, honestly pays thousands of dollars for photography year after year after year. We actually have our family photos scheduled in just 2 weeks. So like literally I just went through this again. One of the things when I first restructured my website, it was actually many years ago. And my family was going on a vacation to Florida. And so I was looking for a photographer in Florida. And there's so many amazing photographers down there in Florida. And as I was researching there from up here in Virginia, I was honestly so overwhelmed by the photographer's website. And this is coming from somebody who I do photography. So like I'm not like completely like oblivious to what is happening. But one of the things that I noticed with a lot of websites was that a lot of people just jam pack way too much information on the pages and it's very overwhelming. There was one photographer that I actually really wanted to hire, but I didn't because it was so overwhelming. But I think she had like 7 or 8 different kinds of mini sessions available. That's not even her full session. So like just her offering was just went right over my head. And anytime we can confuse our leads or our clients, the answer will automatically be no. So one of the things that I recommend is, Roger, this is pertinent to you and anybody else who does multiple different genres is actually having one page dedicated to each niche that you photograph. So this is an example. This is actually one of my older websites, but it worked really well. But at this point in time, I was heavily photographing high school seniors and branding headshots or brands, their businesses, those sort of things. So when somebody typed in my URL, this was the first page that popped up, and it was like one of those choose your own adventure stories, where it's just like, hey, if they're coming for seniors, they would click the seniors, and then everything on that next page would be all geared towards seniors. They wouldn't hear about branding shots. I actually did have some wedding stuff here, but I was getting out of doing weddings, so it wasn't like prominent on my website. But the point is I wasn't mixing my niches at all. So when somebody clicked on the high school senior, I would have like a welcome blurb for the high school senior, a little bit about what they could experience, some sample works, testimonials, and then the pricing that is pertinent to the senior. So that's what I showcased on that. Does that make sense, Roger?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And I think actually this one, I went ahead and did my example for brands, but let me just go ahead and show you some screenshots. So yeah, here, so you like have a little welcome up blurb. And then basically I had more like talk about like what was a branding session. And then we had a pricing information. And basically I'm sharing very, very brief pricing information, even as a photographer and even as somebody who has routinely invested in, Aaron, I see you like trying to, let me see if I can make this any bigger for you. This is actually, just so you know, you guys can reference it later. It's in the Creating Your Irresistible website lesson. It's one of the downloads. But basically, as somebody who has invested in family photography or any kind of photography over the years, I know I'm going to spend money. I am not opposed to that. But before I reach out to a photographer, I want to know a general range. Otherwise, I feel like I'm wasting my time. So my personal way of actually hiring photographers is basically, hey, just let me know the main points of what I need to know. I don't need to know everything. I actually don't recommend that you share your full pricing menu right off the bat, because it can, again, be overwhelming. And again, an overwhelmed mind says no. But then you also pair that with the products that you offer. So it just starts to plant the seeds in your prospect's mind.
Okay. All right.
Any follow-up questions to that?
Yeah, when it comes to products, I use Miller's a lot, and they make really nice products. I use them to do all my printing, and they price it what they can make that product to you for. And so how do you, when you pass it on to a client, how do you come up with the right price to sell that, to make a little profit on that product?
Great question. I love this. This is one of the things that any photographer, not just you, Roger, but like any photographer needs to make sure they're profitable, especially if they're, selling products. The lesson that goes more in depth with this is under the pricing and products module, and it's pricing your products. This right here is actually, so this video will walk you through how to use this Excel sheet, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys now. My husband is an Excel nerd, and so he is the one that we can credit for creating this, and it's been so helpful for me. But basically, the first point or the first tab of this is really defining what are your goals. How much money do you want to make every single month, and how much photo shoots do you want to have every single month? Once we know that number, we'll then be able to figure out how we charge per session. So I'm not going to go through this to a T, but let's just say, for an example, if you want to make 60K a year, that breaks out to 5K a month. We actually, in this sheet, I factored in things like taxes and reinvesting back into your business, because those are important as well. So it breaks you down, okay, based on setting aside money for taxes and you're reinvesting in your business, you actually really need to gross around, 96, give or take. Honestly, like you might have a way lower cost of doing business, or you might be in a different tax bracket. So it's just a rough estimate. And then right here, you put in how many bookings you want. So if I just change the 6 to a 10, that means, hey, if your monthly booking goal is 10, that means you need to, on average, book about 125 clients a year, and then average out 768 per client. If you want to do maybe 15, you can see how the numbers change. Or if you want to do, I've traditionally been like, 4 to 6 clients a month. So I like to shoot for sales over $1,000. That's me personally. But you can play with those numbers. That's the first step, is to really figure out, okay, once we break these numbers down, what is this number that we're trying to reach per client? That doesn't mean you have to have perfect images right now or have your product menu, perfectly laid out or know exactly what you're offering. This is just the goal that we are going to, as we, continue to take steps inside the program and with your business to build it out. This next tab right here, it talks more about the product pricing. And the reason I bring this up is because it's useless, it's pointless to price your product unless you know how much money you want to earn per sale. This is the number you have to know first, and then once you know this number, then we can go on to the third tab here, which we talk about how to price your actual products. So here, the number will bring over from the previous one, or you just put in your number here. But basically, what you said, you use Miller's. I've used Miller's before too. They're a great lab, but you basically pick your products. And one of the things I recommend is honestly no more than 5-ish products per 5 to 7. Again, we don't want to overwhelm clients. Roger, do you know offhand what kind of products you want to offer right now?
Yeah, I like I actually have some products already I have made, and people are amazed. I have made canvas, and
Nice.
I've also had metal prints made,
Nice.
and frame prints. And Miller's, every product that I've gotten from them, they always do a nice job. And the frames prints, I get like the artistic frame around it. A lot of people seem to like that.
Nice.
And then because everybody's got different tastes, some like the wider wooded frames.
Yep.
Miller's has all of that, and so yeah, I like mostly the canvas, and they have these wrap around canvas print, and so I like all that, and I've been showing it off to other people, and they seem to really like it.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's great. Those are 3 awesome products. The products that you just listed were more for like the wall and hanging up. So I would encourage you to have something that's more handheld as well.
Yeah.
And then also something that they can give to others, or like as a gift, like Christmas gift, especially like with family. Like honestly, one of the reasons like I hire a family photography every year is like that's what my mom and dad and my in-laws get for Christmas gift is like, the photos from that. I usually print out something along the lines of that. Let's see, selecting your products. This lesson right here kind of goes through what I have used in the past that has worked really well, specifically for high school seniors and family photography. So, but the canvas worked really well for me. I also love frame prints as well. So those are great ones, Roger. The idea here is once you figure out those, which products, you can go ahead and put them in here.
Okay.
And then column E is like basically where you need to know, what does your lab charge you? It's going to be different per lab. So all of our numbers here are going to look different. The thing that a lot of photographers forget is shipping and packaging. I used to forget this. So we have to factor that in. Again, depending on your lab, it's going to vary. I know like with Bay Photo, if it's anything less than 11 by 14, I think it is, shipping is free, but anything larger than that, they, have I actually don't know what it recently is, but they have some sort of a fee associated with it. Packaging refers to more of how are you going to give it to your client? So there was a season in my business where I would get these really pretty canvas bags that actually had my logo on it. So I had to factor that into my cost. But nowadays I actually use white craft paper and tulle, which works really well. I have a massive roll of white craft paper, and so I just like wrap it, most of the time, depending on what it is, wrap up the album or the keepsake box, whatever it is, in that craft paper, and then put like a black tulle around it, and then I have stickers with my logos, and it is the most cost effective. And without fail, all of my clients are like, oh, this is so pretty. I love the wrapping. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the least involved packaging I've ever had. But either way, we want to factor in packaging. You might not know exactly what it is, but even if you just put in like 10, 15 bucks just to cover that cost, I mean, we rather would have more wiggle room, more margin than less margin. That's the whole point. So then this H column will tally up, we'll add up all these numbers. So you're going to actually have a hard cost number of what it costs you. And then this next column is where I would actually recommend you start with. So basically, I would say initially, if you're just completely unsure of what to price your work at, is to times whatever this number is by 4 and then round it. Just so it's like a pretty number or a prettier number ending in a 0 or a 5 that lends to more luxury type pricing. So this one times 4 is, 346, but that's kind of like an odd number. So we just rounded up to 400. The exceptions to this though would be prints, because prints you can get for a few dollars. And so we would want to sell prints a lot more than like, 20, 30 bucks. I would say, depending on how long you've been in business, start prints at, $50 to $75 and then work up from there.
Okay.
Once this column populates, the next column is to have your cost of goods sold. So this is a percent, like this tells you what percentage you're in, how much of the money that client gives you, how much is like your profit. And though it might not yet be there now, the goal is to eventually get to a 10 to 20% margin. So obviously, if like you're newer in business, if you're still working on a lot of, posing or lighting, and maybe your work is not yet there, your profit margin might be 30 to 40%, or maybe like your selling skills, maybe your work is beautiful, but it's like, hey, like I'm just super nervous to sell my work, or this is brand new, I'm just transitioning into IPS or whatever it is. It might be a little bit higher, which is fine for the short term, not long term. We definitely want to get it under the 10 to 20% margin. There was another quick story. When I first started doing this, one of the things that I did, this was like with one of my very first IPSs way back in the day, but I basically times the cost that it took me, and I times it by 3, and I just did that with all of the products that I was offering because I was completely clueless. And then it was like my second or third sale, and I made a mistake on the order. Like I didn't edit something that I was supposed to edit. So like my lab did a great job, but then I got the final product and I was like, oh man, like I have to reprint this because I'm the one who screwed up. And it totally tanked my profit margin. And also too, like that also factors in your time actually editing those images. So anytime a client, let's just say, gets a 24 by 36 on the wall, like obviously you're going to go through that image with a fine-tooth comb because it's going to be large. And so it factors in that time too. So we want to make sure that your time is compensated for, and then also you have wiggle room if there is a mistake. So that's a long-winded answer. Was that overwhelming?
No, not at all. Hey, I got one other question. Some of my images, if I would really want them, I always have them tweaked a little bit. If I send them out to somebody else to do that, like I use a company called Retouchup, and they really do a good job. I mean, they can do just about anything, and I use them to like tweak some of my photos. And of course, there's a cost for that. Do I pass that on to the client, or do I just, yeah?
Yes, I would. I would actually have it in here. Like I would factor that in. So like you can create like another column just says like, maybe cost to like edit, like your editing cost. If you wanted to. So it's like let me say that for more extensive edits, like head swaps, I would pass that on to a client. Because I would actually hire out another editor, because I have no idea how to do head swaps, and I don't care to learn, nor do I want to spend hours trying to figure that out. So I would pass that cost on to my client. It's actually in my contract where I say, hey, this is, we edit all the images, but if you desire like a more extensive edit, it's going to be at this cost per image, and we'll let you know if that applies in the future. So I've only had it happen like a handful of times, and again, it's more like the extensive, like remove this big thing in the background, or do head swaps.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not good at I can do some things in Photoshop and Lightroom, but with so much it gets overwhelming, and I can't do those real fine edits
Yes.
like somebody else can. So
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And then in all honesty, like this is like one of the hard things to learn as a photographer too. And like obviously if you love editing and that's like where you feel like you excel, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're really serious about growing a profitable photography business, we have to spend our time on the money making task, which is an interesting shift for us to make as creative photographers, because sure, we can shoot and we can spend, I used to spend hours editing myself. I really used to enjoy it, but then I learned like, wow, every moment I spend editing is less time that I spend marketing. Every time I spend more time editing, that's less time of me actually getting that next client and booking them in. So it really does affect your bottom line if you're spending an uneven amount of time editing versus marketing.
yeah, I know photographers that do that. They spend a lot of time doing edit,
Mm-hmm.
and they just, I don't want to do that. I don't have the time to do it. I want to spend more time out, taking the photos and spending time to get the packages and stuff ready.
Exactly. Good. Sounds like you're right, where you need to be then. And with services that, we can outsource that, like there's no need for you to be doing it if you don't want to be.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Thank you,
cool.
Heather. Yeah, that was,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And I saw 2 of your questions. So let's go ahead and finish you up, Roger, because this is your next question about Google. Talk to me about this one. Tell me, like, you basically want to be found on Google more, and just like how to make that happen. Is that right?
Yeah, when I put my business name into Google, it comes right up. It's just
Tom,
yeah,
is heartfelt photography. Is that right?
yes. Heart,
Um,
it's heartfelt dot photography.
Okay, so there's a couple of, so here's a little trick. If you put in your own website or just search for your name here in your local area, it will likely pull up pretty quickly. What you got to do is like pull in like an incognito browser and then type in your name and actually see where do you land, whether it's the first page or maybe to the 10th page of Google. That will give you a much better idea of the reality. And that's just because like you go to your website a lot, just like update it and whatnot. So Google knows that. And so it's going to show you that first because you're there often. But anybody who's just randomly searching in your area is not going to have the same story. So when I put in heartfelt photography, there's a lot of heartfelt photographers that came up. Where are you located, Roger?
In Jacksonville, Florida.
All right, let's see if that works. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay, you did come up.
Yeah.
Perfect. So then, okay, so how do you get found on Google? So I'm going to go ahead and head to your website. And this is a new one, is that right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've had it for the website. I know you updated your link.
Yeah, the name of the business.
Okay, so there's a few things that we can do to get found in Google. And aside from spending money in ads, these other things work, but they do take time.
Okay.
First things first is every image on your page. Like if I go here, I don't know if you guys can see my clicker, and I say save as. Let's see if I can do that. It saves as, actually, let me find a stat. I don't know if it will work. Let me find, we'll do
Heather,
this
are
one.
you still sharing? I lost the screen. I don't know if anybody else did.
Oh, I am still sharing. Do you guys still see it?
Maybe it's my. Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Do you
What's
see
going
it
on?
though?
No, you're fine.
All right. Well, Aaron, do you see the screen?
I just it.
Yeah, let me start all over and share again.
Sorry. I don't know what just happened. I wasn't even touching it.
Can you see now?
No, it's something with me on this end. You keep going.
Oh, I'm sorry. All
Oh,
right.
here we
Well,
go. Okay, I got it. I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries.
Technical issue.
So, all right. Well, as far as being found in Google, one of the easiest and yet time-consuming things that we can do is actually rename our images. So if I click on this image, Roger, save as, it's going to pull up as your name, Heartfelt Photography, Roger Lee Dwyer, and then .html. And that's what most people have, or they'll actually have like the name of like, IMG dash and then like 4 numbers for actually like the image name. And what we have to realize is when somebody goes to Google to find like a photographer in our local area, they're not typing in our business name. They're typically not typing in our name unless we've been referred. What they're typing is family photographer in Jacksonville, Florida, or senior photos in Jacksonville, Florida. So one of my recommendations would be to actually rename every single image on your website with those terms. I call them your search SEO, search engine optimization keywords. So it's basically your niche plus your location. And for example, and like you can vary this up. So for example, for me, I'm in Virginia. So I could say, Virginia wedding photographer. I'm in Northern Virginia. So I could say, Virginia or Northern Virginia wedding photography, or like the acronym, which is NOVA, NOVA, wedding photography. So you're going to have some variations of that. And so that would be one of the big things I would recommend that everybody do, because that's, and what you have to think is like, Google, great image here, but like Google doesn't know what's in it. Like Google can't read what's in the image. So we have to tell Google what is it. So you could say childhood photographer, or, another great thing, especially if you guys are doing wedding photography, is like when you're uploading photos, like whether it's a blog or just like on your portfolio page, put in the wedding venue and then like wedding photos, because people will search for like, weddings at this particular venue. And that's a great way to like rank higher when people are just looking for venues, not even at the point of looking for a photographer.
Yeah.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is having a blog, which I don't see here. Do you have a?
I had it on there somewhere.
Start here. Am I missing it?
Let's see. I thought it was under start here, or not sure where it was. I know I've actually written a couple blogs.
Okay. So that's just like something else to kind of keep note of and like just look later, like, hey, where did my blog go? With blogs, so blogging, when I first started my photography business, I had like 0 funds to invest in ads, and I was like penny pinching. So one of my marketing strategies back then was to actually blog once a week, and like come hell or high water, my blog would go out every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. And that actually really helps rank higher in Google. With blogs specifically, you want to make sure your title of the blog matches up with your SEO keyword search term. So like, for example, if I was doing like sharing some senior photos, I would have senior's name, the actual city-ish area that my senior was photographed, and then like Northern Virginia senior photographer as like the whole blog title. And that way it really optimized on the location and the niche that I was photographing. And then also, if any copy that you put into your blog, you can just be mindful of reiterating your SEO keyword search terms over and over again. And then also too, the footer of your page, the footer is going to show up on every single page on your website. So make sure you actually have your niche plus location on the footer as well.
Okay.
So that's number 1. And that's like encompasses a lot. So basically, location and niche all over your website, and photos, footers, and blog titles. The second thing that you can do, aside from consistently blogging, is really getting a Google My Business page set up. This we actually have in a bonus. So you guys know, I think most of you guys know Jane. She she's one of the coaches here. She is she's a whiz, an absolute whiz when it comes to like Google My Business. She did a special guest, or here it is, organic growth with Google My Business, and this is she's talking about how to get. You guys can't see the video. I'm in the back end of the website, but when you log in, you'll be able to see the video. But basically, she walks you through how to set up your Google My Business page, and then that's also going to rank higher. So if I were to let me go to Google. Let's say,
Okay.
I'm going to do Jackson. You're Jacksonville, right? Florida
Yes.
family photographer. Okay, we'll just put that in. So when you do Google My Business, I believe it helps, like when the map shows up, you're one of the first ones that come up underneath the map.
Okay.
And then along with that, once you get a Google My Business page set up, you can also start asking reviews from your client. So you guys can see how, I'm not sure if this is exactly how Google My Business does it, but every time I've gone, I feel like, if someone knows more than I do, please correct me, but like the more reviews you have, the higher you'll be ranked, or the more Google reviews you'll have, the higher you'll be ranked. So that would be another thing to work on as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
So,
that sounds good. Yeah. I
a lot
like
of,
that advice.
you what?
I like that advice.
Good. I know it takes some time. I
Yeah.
will say that like when I got serious about my website and not Googling, blogging, I think it was about like 4 to 6 months of like consistent blogging that I actually started to get leads from just Google searches, which was really, really great. Back then, I didn't know about Google My Business, so I wasn't doing that, but I would highly recommend it now for
Okay.
any location based business. Roger, do you have any other, or anybody else, anything about Google My Business or pricing, the topics that we're just talking on? Does anybody have any questions about that?
I have a quick question on the profit sheets. I'm
Sure.
working through mine, and when you say 5 to 7 items, do you mean total? So you only have like, 3 canvases, 2 albums, and maybe 2 other things? Is that our
Great
Yeah.
question. I mean like 5 like
option?
product
Like,
types. So
yeah,
like
okay.
albums would be one, but you might have 2 options for albums.
Yeah.
Canvases are another, but of course you're gonna have different sizes for canvases. Digitals
Okay.
might be one. So those kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's helpful.
Awesome. All right, cool. Let's go. I want to pull up the chat. I'm not sure if I haven't even been watching the chat. I also don't know if anybody's been messaging in the chat. Let's move on to the next question. And we had Alan, he's working right now, but I want to make sure I answer his question. But basically, he's working on, hold on, I stopped sharing. Let me share again, guys. Sorry. So he's working on creating a couple of email sequences, one for senior and one for families, and he's struggling with the family side. What would be a good lead magnet for family sessions that could be used to capture an email and remarket to them? So I was actually thinking about this before the call. I was like, what would entice me to like sign up? And this is actually like this has worked with my brands. So one of the things that I did with my brands was I did like basically how to take better selfies for your business kind of like guide. But I feel like that could totally work for a family niche as well, as basically, hey, how to take better photos of your kids, or how to like, take better, sports photos like at your kids' sporting events, or like vacation photos when you're out and about. But basically just sharing with your potential leads how to use their iPhone to capture better images of their family. So that's talking about rule of thirds, or maybe just mentioning about light source, or even maybe a few simple tips on how to edit. Those would be really helpful. But then also in that lead magnet, you can say, hey, this is great for like everyday use, but here, like, it's important for mom and dad to also be in the photos and to actually have, the whole units together. So you can definitely talk about it from that standpoint. Another good idea for family photos would be basically how to display your family photos in your house. And this could be like, or here's a couple things: how to organize your photos on your phone, and just make sure everything's all seamless. Because even me, I have no idea. I think like 14,000 photos on my phone that are totally not even organized. So you could do like a little tips on how to organize those photos. But but then also maybe tips for how to display your favorite photos in your home. Or like, maybe partnering with, there's like basically you could talk about like how to use the photos that they have every single day that they take and how to hang them up, whether it's various different collages or resources for getting those mini books to like print out their work. And then you're really speaking to the clients who value that printed work, which will lead to, obviously, like with an iPhone picture, that's not going to lend well to like a massive canvas on the wall. Like the resolution will just be way off. So they're still going to have a need for you as a primary photographer. Does anybody else, I know Alan's not with us, but does anybody else have any other family specific lead magnet ideas?
No, just get more clients.
Yeah, yeah. All want more clients.
Yeah. No,
And
I'm, your program has really helped me a lot so far. I haven't been in it that long, but yeah, I'm talking to more people. I'm actually thinking about attending a wedding uh convention in Jacksonville that they're having in October, and it's for wedding, uh, everything weddings. It helps photographers to be there. Maybe I can talk to people and maybe book some weddings because I have done weddings before. It's a lot of work, but it's well worth it.
yes, it is. And I feel like well, I think this is true for anything. Anytime you start something new, it seems like the majority of the legwork is up front before you see that return. But then as you are consistent in that, like it just builds upon each other, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Another thing I thought of as you were talking, Roger, is utilizing your current following and having them vote. So this is great to use, like, hey, like for your stories, like, hey, guys, like I'm getting ready to create a guide. Would you rather this or this? And then have them vote. And everybody who votes is a potential lead. So I would actually like message those people who voted on your post, and also just see if they, hey, so thank you so much for doing this. Are you actually in need of a family photographer right now? Or when's the last time that your family was photographed? So all that to say, don't discount your current following in helping you figure out what a good lead magnet would be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
So awesome. Okay, so those were all the pre-submitted questions. Erin, I know you said you had one. You ready to share?
Yes.
Awesome.
I think, like Roger said, this is a fabulous program, and I'm really excited to be here again. I am getting a little overwhelmed, and I tend to take on a lot more than I can chew at times. But I'm also spinning because I don't think here. Okay, I'm having a problem, right? I don't want to be doing minis anymore, but I'm already secured the spots and everything for that this year. I also am thinking I'm going to get away from weddings because I would rather spend time at my home with my family and my child on the weekend than, no offense, to somebody else's. And so then I'm also weeding out like doing any sessions on the weekends too, right? Minis and weddings. Okay. So I'm spinning my wheels because I can take on 1 to 2 more families in October and about 3 to 4 more in November. Knowing that I want to get out of the weekends and out of the weddings and those things. And I have a pretty good following. I have like 300 emails, distribution lists. How should I focus on getting those clients for the fall? Like I haven't ran an ad either. So should I focus on new? Should I focus on who I have? And just, I'm just getting kind of lost in things to do.
Okay, cool. So funny that you brought up like not wanting to work on the weekends, because I feel like if for everybody who doesn't know, Erin, your little one is a year and a half.
Year and a half,
A
yeah.
year and a half. And it's so funny because like I went through the same process. Like when my boy, I think it was actually after I had my second one, I was just like, you know what, I'm done like with weekend work. Like I don't want to be at a wedding anymore. Like I want to be with my family on Saturdays and doing those kind of things. So I went through the same process as well, and moved all of my shooting days to like the middle of the week. So you're good on that, right? Like you don't have any questions
Yeah.
on that particular part.
Yeah.
Okay, so now
Yeah.
it's more about, okay, how do you fill up the last remaining weekday spots? Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So whenever I'm trying to fill in the last few spots, I always give my current people first dibs. And
Okay.
like you can even say that. So I feel like I refer to this training all the time, but that's because I've used it so much in my business in various different ways. Let me go ahead and find it for you guys. But it's called, I was literally just telling somebody else about this who is also in the program. It's under the marketing basics. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
The warm outreach right here, past leads and clients. This has been my go-to any season that I am looking sparse. I always give my clients first dibs. And this basically, so like I'll just go ahead and pull this up. So basically it's just messaging through text message. You're going to have all your past clients text or numbers. So it's basically sending them a text message with a photo to pull at their heartstrings, really. Like you want to pick a photo that's
Yeah.
one of their favorites. These are personalized messages, so it's going to be it's going to take some time, but the more personalized you can be, the better. So like you want to use their name, you want to use, this one is a high school senior, so of course I was using mom names and senior's name. If you saw anything recent on Facebook or Instagram that they were doing or experiencing, go ahead and bring that up, and then just say like, hey, I thought of you because I actually have 5 dates left this fall for family photography or whatever kind of photography. As a loyal past client, I wanted to invite you to one of those sessions. First, you can throw in an incentive if you want to. For me, my go-to for my past clients is a waived session fee and a credit towards products. And again, like this is because they know my products. They've
Yeah.
spent thousands before, so I'm okay doing it. And also for me, like I've never banked on session fees. Like I've always had that as wiggle room for like a marketing strategy. So like my sales have always been banked on the IPS, not necessarily the session fees. And when you're priced appropriately, you can do $100, $200 gift card and it not really affect you all that much.
Okay.
But you got to be profitable for that. So if your profit margins are not there yet, then just be mindful of it.
Okay.
You can see the example here. She responded right away. We had a little conversation, but she wanted to get on the calendar, and we were able to book that out, no problem. So that's the easiest way to do it. You can also, I think I have here, you can also do it in an email. Any past lead. So if you like go through your whole lead list, if they reached out to you, in the spring or last fall, it's just basically, hey, you reached out to me last fall for XYZ photography. Are you still interested in it? And then making it super easy for them to like raise their hand and say yes. Just like, hey, reply yes if so. And then like not making it more complicated than it needs to be.
Okay. Perfect.
Um,
I did this in July, and that's what made me hit like my biggest month ever. So I got thank you. Yes, I got 4 bookings from doing this. So that's like half of my fall booked up because I want to take about 5 to 6 a month.
Nice.
So I did that, and oh my gosh, I texted and called so many people. My question is, out of that group that I know is still interested, should I follow back up with them on a different way? Like for example, I have a lady I go to church with. Granted, we don't go to that same church anymore, but I know she wants to have her son's senior photos done. But he graduated May of this year, so it's just been, and she's a new grandmother, like just all the things. So I know she wants them done, and every time I reach out to her, I can tell she wants to commit, but she can't. And so I have a couple people like that.
Do you know why they're not committing?
Not specific. I think the mom with the senior boy is just the calendar. It's just too much for her. Like there's just way too much going on. And I also think another client who has used me in the past is in the same boat. Both her kids are now in school, and she's trying to get a promotion at her job. So there's just a lot of extra, you know, fall frenzy, I guess,
Yeah.
In their lives. So which
For sure.
makes it hard. Yeah.
So with that, I would actually challenge that. And knowing that about your clients, just say like, hey, I have like 5 dates left open.
Okay.
And then like if they express interest, is like, perfect. Would you prefer October or November? And then once they say like, one or the other, you say, great, I have like the 16th or the 31st open, 30th open for you. Which one works better? And so like sometimes if we say like, hey, like when are you available? People are like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. Like I have
Yes.
no idea. But if we give them a specific date or choose between these two, they'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
well, you know what? I have a doctor's appointment this day, but I think I can probably move that around.
Okay.
So that
I
would be
like
the
that.
first. Yeah.
Just giving them narrowed choices so that they
Yes.
feel that they're confident in what they're doing.
100%. So if you're trying to fill 5, how many, and you have 30 pass, you could, the 30 people, no, not 30, 300 people you have on your email list, are these all past paying clients?
No, I did a photo booth a couple years ago with a pet business, and I took photos for free and they got the photos. She paid me to be there. And so we each took that distribution list from
Yeah.
there. As people sign up for things, I put them on my email distribution list. I went through the list and it's probably overestimated, but I marked out like 60 in particular that I think would be interested. And so I actually started putting together like an email sequence for them going into the fall. So what I wanted to do is start this Friday and do like one email a week or maybe even 2 emails a week to get them kind of prepared. I wrote down let's see, I have a list. I said, preparing your children, and creating value. So preparing them, how do I prepare my children, what to wear, choosing artwork, a testimonial, and then I was gonna like do one more.
Awesome. Okay. Would you be open to some suggestions about that email list that might make you feel uncomfortable?
Yes.
Okay. So before we talk about email, the text message strategy this strategy that I was just showing you guys, I personally feel like it's totally okay to repeat strategies once a quarter. People are
Okay.
busy, they'll forget.
Yeah,
If
don't
you
forget.
if you name it like, hey, it's this different special, that will be fine. Even if they don't say yes right then and there, it keeps you at the top of their mind. And then every touch point you have with them, I feel like it's just like another point in your hat kind of a thing. Now, as far as the email, I would encourage you to, how many emails do you have total?
I have 1, 2, 3. I have about 5.
How do you feel about doing it all in one week, Monday through Friday?
Okay.
Reason being, how have you been emailing your current clients? How frequently?
About once a month.
Okay.
Like the whole 300.
Okay, but you're talking about just the 60 that you pulled out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would say do all 5 in 1 week.
Okay.
But then you're also starting from the very start, like in the PS section, say, hey, PS, my calendar, we have 5 states left for, this fall sessions, reply back and then have a keyword, fall or whatever, family, whatever kind of sessions you want, if you are interested in learning more. So like you still add the value, but you're just adding a slight PS. Reply back with a keyword, super simple. You're not directing into a calendar where they have to manage their schedule and your schedule, but it just gets the ball rolling. And then every as you have people reply back to that, you can say like in the next email, oh, by the way, there's only 4 spots remaining, 3 spots remaining. Hey, there's and you could even throw in some sort of a like savings if you want to. Hey, if you book by the end of this week, you get this added bonus, and that is another way. Or like it's just like, hey, book by Friday. Do you have a popular product that doesn't cost you a whole lot of money?
Yes. Well, it cost me probably like 75. Is that too high?
What's your average sale?
My average sale is probably close to like per client 800.
Yeah, I would say that's a bit too much.
I could do a mounted photo.
A mounted photo, yeah, that would work. Or do you do slideshows for your clients?
I do not.
Okay, yeah, maybe even a Christmas ornament.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a Christmas order might work because Christmas is coming up. And then also too with Christmas ornaments, it's like if you like book by, this Friday, you'll get this thing added onto it. And like you could say it's a limited edition because you're not going to sell it all the time.
Right.
And then also too, when it comes time for the ordering appointment, it could be something like, hey, would you like to add on extra ornaments as gifts for your family?
Okay, perfect.
So
Yeah.
then it covers your costs too. So
Yeah, I love that.
I would definitely do that. But like essentially do a long, I've mentioned this book before.
Oh,
This strategy, like this is like, that's the strategy. Yes. So
I read
basically,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
But so again, like it's not the exact same, but it's the
Yeah.
idea of opening up cart, like saying like what's available, adding value, sharing testimonials, giving some sort of an incentive to encourage action, and then having that layer of urgency with like only X number of spots, or this offer goes away this date.
Okay.
So, and then also too, you can if you're feeling like extra you know motivated, you can tweak your emails for social media and just do like 5 days worth of stories, like do post 2 to 3 times, and just like mimic what's in the email. So like you don't have to create the whole new content, but just slightly tweak it for stories.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, awesome. All right, any follow-up question with that?
I think I love it. First of all, I'm always up for a challenge. And second of all, do I have enough content? 5 emails or 7, like one a day for 7 days, or
So
one a day
I
for
would
7?
say one a day for 7 days, or one a day for 5 days at the very least, and on
Okay.
the last day do 2 emails.
Okay.
So
Okay, perfect. And that's what he mentions in here.
yes, that is true. So that's not my answer. That's Jeff Walker's, but I've used it and used with success.
Okay, awesome. Because I read this. I think you mentioned this in the last month call, and
Probably.
I ordered it and read it by the time the next call came around. And I just kept racking my brain, like, how can I use this? How can I use this? But I think I was just thinking like too micro and too detailed.
Yeah.
So this is perfect. I will take on this challenge, and I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, and then like once you have this written out, like obviously writing 5 emails is no like easy task. Like it takes some dedicated work, but
Mhm.
save those emails because you can like replicate them. Slight variations for the springtime. You can honestly redo the same emails next fall too. So like these are things that are considered assets in your business that you just
Yeah.
pull out and use whenever you need that next booking, or you just want to fill up your calendar more.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's see. Jill, I'm just catching up with the chat box, but Jill is saying, I don't want to work on weekends either. Unfortunately, it's the only way I'm getting business right now. Jill, why is that? Do you give like how do you share your dates?
Well, I've decided that I'm okay with it for the first couple years because I'm gonna lure them in with what I do, and then I'm gonna like be like, okay, now I'm changing.
Yeah.
I'm in the farming community, and so
Mm,
a lot of the women were like, people work, and it just,
Yeah.
I don't know, people don't want to do family photos during the week.
Yes.
They don't want to stop their farm work. They don't want to. Now, does it mean they will always be that way? No, I think it's just a different way of, I have to educate them, and it's completely different
Yeah.
than anything they're used to around here at all. And so I just decided, it's all right for a little while
Yeah.
while I get things going. I also don't have, an office in town. I'm working out of my house right now. Like I don't have a studio type place. So I think once I had that and have regular business hours, then it's a lot easier to also say this is when I shoot.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
it's so funny. The family photographer that I just booked for this fall, the date that I picked was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And not because it's ideal for my family, but it's just because it was what the photographer had available. I was like, well, I guess I just got to make it work.
Yeah,
And
and I tried it with a couple people. I tried the whole, I'm trying to do them on the weekends, really during the week, blah blah blah. Oh, well, we work, and we'd have to take time off, and he's in the field, and
so it's about how we spin it. So first of all, there's nothing wrong with shooting on the weekends if you like to. I'll qualify that.
Well, I
I
miss
will.
college football games though, so
That's funny. That's
this
funny.
can't go on forever.
So then here's what I would recommend, that you don't open up every weekend, that you actually have 1 or 2 weekends off where like your dark weekends where like, hey, I'm not doing anything. I'm spending time at home, spending time with my family, watching college football. So like, that's good. And then the other thing, so like going back to what Erin said, when I started shifting from my weekend work to, weekday, I honestly wasn't sure if it would work, but I was just like, you know what, like I value my family time more than photographing a client on a weekend. Like, yes, I still want clients, but then I said, my shooting days are Wednesdays and Thursdays. And so like when I presented that to my clients, I would just say, hey, the next available session is Wednesday at, 4 p.m. How does that work for you? And sometimes they'd be like, oh, well, she has school, or, obviously we start hair and makeup earlier. Not sure she can get out of school, but it's just basically, hey, you know what? Totally understand. Like any other doctor's or a dentist appointment, you just make things, we work things around. If it's a family, it's like, hey, it might be fun just to have maybe like a half day at work, and then you do a photo shoot, and then you go out and do something really fun as a family. Maybe go out to dinner, or, take the kids to a special place. So like they can make it into like a really fun outing, and not,
That's a good idea.
yeah. And so it's all about how we spend it.
Yeah.
It's not like a drag for them. It's a benefit to them.
Right. Now, I do have an extended family. How I got myself into this, I don't know. And I'll be going to a photo consultation here a little bit, even though she already said she wants to do this. The only time they can do it is a Saturday after Thanksgiving because it's an extended family. It's like 4 or 5 generations. I'm not losing count. And it's 38 people. So I have no idea how I'm going to do this.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, yeah, okay, I'll do that, and then I'll have to figure out how the heck I'm gonna get that many people in a photo.
Well, that's the best way to learn. Throw yourself in the deep end and then figure it out.
Yep. Yeah, well, it's pretty deep right now, so.
That's okay. They chose you for a reason.
Oh God, and
So.
I see myself on the camera. I'm like, oh God, I better go make myself presentable for this person.
Oh, well, do you have any other specific questions, Jill, regarding that or anything else?
No, not right now. I don't. I mean,
Okay.
I always have questions, but
Now's
no,
the time to
I think
ask.
I'm good. I think I'm good. I'm just obviously, I've been in this program for a while, and it's been awesome. And quite honestly, I've been so busy now through the summer that I haven't had
Busy
a
with
chance
bookings
to.
and clients, guys.
I
She's
have, and I
she's
haven't,
kicking butt.
and I haven't been able to get back to all courses that I haven't been through. So I'm like, I gotta carve out time to do that. I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna be happy that winter comes so I can
Yeah, catch up.
concentrate on some of this stuff.
Well, what a good problem to have.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, I think, can I share like some of recent news for you? I want to brag on you for a moment.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Her last 3 IPSs have been over $1,000, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good job, Jill.
It's
So-
kind of cool finally seeing money come in instead of the money going out
Yes.
to buy what I need. So
Yes, and it's going to keep that, because everything you're learning, like there's no expiration on it. Like you're going to keep growing and learning and whatnot. Cool.
yeah, and I actually think I will just say my goal was really to make this year what I've invested into my business. I had to buy some new stuff and whatnot. And looking at the bookings I have and the people I know that are still interested, I think I'm gonna come pretty doggone close.
Yay.
So
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
that will be really good. And then maybe next year I can actually make money.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Your first IPS was $1,800. What do you mean maybe next
Wow.
year?
I know,
Like,
but I'm strict.
don't sell yourself
Well,
short.
yeah.
You're gonna get better with time, and the more practice you have, so you're kicking butt.
Yeah, I have learned with every single session. I'm learning along the way and learning what to say and what not to say and how to think about this or how to think about that. So yeah, it's a constant learning, but it's great.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm so proud of you, Jill.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So Ronald, you've been quiet except for the chat message here. You have any questions? Oh, actually, he shared something. Read wedding photo tips. They cover big groups. That's for you, Jill.
What was it?
Ronald, are you able to say it's in the chat? He says read wedding photo tips. I'm not sure. Is that a website, Ronald?
Just in general, if if you have to shoot a big group, you don't know what to do. Okay, there are specific tips in every single course on weddings. On here's how to shoot the whole
Bridal
class,
party.
which is what it sounds like you need to do.
Yeah.
My first thing was I called my sister up, who is busy every weekend. I swear to God, and I called her up and I said, "Look, are you busy on the Saturday after Thanksgiving?" "No, I don't think so." I said, "Okay, you are now because I need an assistant." And so at least I know I have an assistant that can help me with 38 people.
Good.
My college football team, by the way, is the Iowa Hawkeyes.
The other thing that you can consider, like depending on like if it's just too much, you could do it like in family groups and then like hire an editor to stitch it all together.
Yeah, I thought of that as well. I was watching a video on how somebody did that too.
Yeah.
So I'm going over there today to look at the farm and talk to her about all the people and get all the names and try to figure out who goes with who. And
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go. It's the best you can do.
I'll
Do
give
you know
you
if there's
I'm sorry,
okay.
I'm gonna give you a tip, Jill. When you do those big variations, similar to what Ronald was saying, I put together a templated like variation form for them to fill out and send to me before the session. So like for weddings, it's bride and groom plus parents, but I make them fill in the names. So then your assistant can be like, okay, I need Jill, Sally, and Bob.
That's a great
Yell
idea.
out these names. This is who I need. And then
Okay.
I always go biggest groups to small. So then most of the people stay there. Oh, nope, parents, I still need you. Oh, nope, you stay, you stay. So then you're not chasing cats as much.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I do know I need to get the original, I'll call them the original mom and dad. I need to get them done as soon as I can with all the shots they're in and let them go because I think he's 90 and
You can
she's
maybe
like
sitting in the
82
middle on
or
the
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have them in the middle and then, do them with everybody, their kids, maybe the grandkids.
Yeah.
And then let them go because
Yeah.
she's
Sure.
in good shape, but he's, getting a
Mm.
little.
Those photos, then they're going to cherish them.
Yeah.
Especially, it sounds like they might be the last few.
They could
certain,
be,
members.
Yeah.
Aaron, what you're sharing, I was like, oh man, it's bringing back my wedding years. Corralling everybody at a wedding.
It's still going. I'm trying to get out of it, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a nervous wreck that day. I gotta tell you, it's like so much pressure.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to do weddings. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, you have an assistant, and I would actually also too have like a family contact who actually knows the names of everybody.
Yes.
So you actually have your assistant, and then somebody in the family could be like, hey, like, do you know, like, who these people are? So if they're not listening, if they're chatting it up with somebody else, they know exactly who to go to, hey, you're in the next shot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then
that's
also
a great
too,
idea.
thinking back to my wedding years, I would always like be taking the photo, and then like my assistant would be gathering the next on deck. So it's like really, really quickly.
Yep.
So
I think my
it was,
sister will be good at that.
yeah,
So
cool.
she has a loud voice.
That's what you need. That's what you need. Awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Cool. Ron, do you have any questions?
Don't think so.
Okay.
I'm just plugging along.
Awesome.
That's what I do.
Perfect. All right. Is everybody good, or are there any last minute questions?
No, I'm good.
Sweet. Aaron's good. Jill, you're good.
Yeah.
And Ron, you're good. Awesome. Well, then I'll let you guys go. Before I let you guys go, I haven't made the announcement yet, but I will make a bigger announcement. But you guys are here. The 16th is the day that we're going to have the Facebook ads workshop. It's either going to be early afternoon, 1 or 2 my time. I haven't exactly figured that part out yet, but just set aside, that's Eastern Standard Time, on the 16th if you want to learn about ads.
Awesome.
By all